I've never done this before, but can I get a west side? Can I get a west side? West side. I just want to see if you guys do it. Come on, no, hold on, let's seriously, come on, all in, right? All in west side. I'm just messing with you. So, well, hey, listen, I'm going to jump right in today and talk about several different things. Before we get into the personal brand stuff, which we're going to map out today, and I'm going to walk you through how understanding that your personal brand is the fastest way to create company profits. All of you have individual companies. You're trying to figure out how to make them more profitable. Today, I'm going to give you each and every step in that process to do that. Because I believe as we move into 2020, the personal brand is the new company brand. And every single company, from KW to yours, has to adapt to going, how do I help our people build their personal brand? All right. Now, we always layer everything that we do with a little bit of Mojo. Everybody say Mojo. Mojo. Mojo for us is the mentality, the mindset around how to be your best, live your best, give your best, achieve your best every single day. And it's a mindset that understands that you have to take ownership. Everybody say ownership. In your life, your world, and what I'm talking about specifically today about your brand. Because if you don't take ownership, there's nothing that I can do, nothing that ownership, management, or anybody else can do. It starts with you taking ownership. So we're going to break this down and talk so much about this. Now, I want to start by dealing with some false beliefs of what brand really is. Because I think people have this confused. The personal brand is not your team logo. It's not your tagline. It's not your website, your photos. It's not your business card. It's not even your social media. Now, okay, let's be honest. That's a piece of where we see your personal brand. But your personal brand is not that. So right now, somebody in here in your head, you're going, I got to get my website together. I got to get my social media together. I got to spend all this time to make my business card look better. No. Stop. Don't. The personal brand is about your story. It's about how you communicate who you are, what you do, the impact you make, why clients want to work with you. It's about your purpose. We're going to talk a little bit about that later today. Personal brand is that. How do I take my brand message, articulate it in a way that people understand it, create a little bit of a wow factor, and get them raising their hands going, I want to work with you. I want you to be my agent. Because not that you guys didn't know this, there's 7,000 of you out there. And sometimes you almost look the same, sound the same. And to somebody that's not in this business, you've become a commodity and they think that anybody can put a sign in a yard and sell a house. Now, anybody that actually has done that knows there's way more to it than that. In fact, it probably is less about putting a sign in the yard and it's probably more about holding the whole deal together and managing emotions and stop people from crying and fighting all the way to the finish line. But somebody outside this industry that doesn't do this all the time, they don't often know that. So one of the things that we have to do is to build this unique proposition that allows us to be better. Well, at least different than the next person. And that starts by us understanding how to do that. When we think about all these wonderful big brands, we think about all these companies that we have grown to love. Here's what they all have in common. They've spent billions of dollars, with a B, to make sure that you know who they are, what they do, why they do it, how they do it differently, what is their mission, their purpose. And some do it better than others. In fact, I should throw Chick-fil-A up on there. I keep saying that because right now, think about what they do. They have all these wonderful commercials about their chicken nuggets and their sandwich and their no. Never. They have a bunch of messages around how they engage the community, how they make differences on lives, how their managers have been able to do something wonderful for this couple. They've been a part of childbirthing processes and making dreams come true. We're talking about a fast food place. But they're spending billions of dollars on a little red couch with people sitting on it to make sure that you know who they are, what they do, and how they do it differently. Now, here's the challenge for everybody in this room as a small business owner. You don't have the billions of dollars. Because if you did, you probably wouldn't be sitting here today. But you still have to accomplish the same exact thing. So what we're going to unpack today is the number one challenge that agents have, which is you don't have a personal brand. And I know why. Because most of you in here, when you signed up to be a realtor, you signed up to be a realtor. You didn't sign up to be a marketing guru. You didn't sign up to be a chief marketing officer. You didn't sign up to be a brand manager. You signed up to be a real estate agent. And I get that. Completely understand it. But I also want you to realize that in today's environment, you're not just in the real estate business. You are in the business of marketing your real estate services. And if I unpack that one line more, I got to realize that I've got to be able to package up my message, my value proposition, and I got to deliver it to people so they say, I want to work with her. I want to work with him. And newsflash, the agents that do it the best will win. Now some of you are like, well, hold on a second. I know this agent, and they're a $15 million producer, and their brand is crap. I know this agent over here, their website looks like it's 1982. Like, I know this agent over here, I get that. Here's what I want you to understand. The times are changing, and how you got here is going to be very different to how you get there. And as we get the market compression, we get the Amazons of the worlds, and how Zillow's doing with all of those. I'm not going to put everybody out of business, but here's what it is going to do. It's going to put the ones who don't have a very good brand out of business. So if you think about some of the pioneers of real estate in the greater Indianapolis area that are older, more successful over a long period of time, they built brand. They just didn't have to do it like we do today. So to be relevant moving forward, you're going to have to start rethinking and have a little bit of a mindset shift. Everybody say shift. Shift. Everybody say shift. Shift. We're going to have a mindset shift on what we have to do on a daily basis. Now, at the end of the day, here's what you got to understand. I'm not telling you that you have to do this. I'm telling you that your brand needs it, and somebody will have to do it for you. Whether that's you, that means you hire somebody, but at the end of the day, you're going to have to make some investment to stay relevant in this business, okay? So, if you think about how we consume information today, and just think about your own life, right? We get referrals for anything. Like right now, if you wanted to get new carpet, you know what? We start thinking about, well, who can help me do that? Right now, the number one referral source, I don't care what any data says, is what? Facebook. You know what you do? You go on Facebook, you say, hey, I'm thinking about getting some carpet. Who recently got some carpet and you can give, and what do people do? They give you 25 referrals of different people. True or false? True or false? True. So then what happens is, then we start to search, or in some cases we'll get the referral. Another case, we'll just do our own search, right? Let me go search and see who in Indianapolis does carpet well. And then there are a certain group of people that I've learned that if they're smart about this, they know at some point in time, Michelle, who is a homeowner that lives in Avon, Indiana, and this price point in this neighborhood is going to need some carpet. And so they're running ads to her, and they pop up, and they grab her attention, and she's like, woo, it's that clickbait, right? I'm scrolling. We call it, at Mojo Up, we call that scroll stopping content. And now I've got your attention. But it doesn't matter if you start with 1, 2, or 3. Here's what happens next. You want to validate it. Okay, I got 22 people on my list right now. They snagged it. Like they told me exactly, that you should call these 5 places. So what do we do next? We try to validate it. Well, how do we do that? Either with Google reviews, we start pinging other people and asking. We go to their websites, we go to their Facebook pages. Now, it's different for different people of how you actually validate. But make no mistake, we're not going to spend a few $1,000s on brand new carpet without validating it from somebody. And the reason why I'm taking you through this mindset, because here's how people do houses too. They're going to do these things. And when they go to validate you, my question is, what do they see? Like literally, what do they see? Do they see like, wow, this person's sharp, this professional. Oh, I clicked their video. Ooh, I got to watch and understand who they are and what they do. Interesting. I got to see testimonials from their clients. Wow. I mean, do they get all that? Or what do they get? Now, what's alarming for many of you in here is you don't know the answer to that. You haven't Googled yourself. You haven't done your own audit on yourself. And some of you are like, I don't want to know. Well, just because you don't want to know doesn't mean it's not out there. What do they see? Like you've worked that hard to give somebody great experience in buying or selling a house. So much so that somebody thought of you to refer you, and then you jacked it up because your website's sloppy? Because your social media header's jacked up? It looks like you haven't been in business in the last 4 years because that was your last post on Twitter? Really? You worked that hard to get that referral and then you let it slip like that? And that's what's disappointing because we don't think like marketers. We're still thinking like realtors. And if you really want to shift, you got to start thinking like a marketer and a media company. I got 2 video guys here videoing everything that we do. You know why? Because video is so important, a proof of concept that you actually do what you say you do. So we document everything, every meeting, all day, every day, so that we can ultimately then prove exactly what we're doing. Because I want you to realize that your brand says something about you today. What does it say? So we take people through this process. It's a 15-step process, and that's what this little form's for right here, for you to fill out that Mike is going to collect. And actually set up a time. You'll fill this out. We'll do a 15-page brand audit I'm getting ready to show you. We'll set up a time to jump on a call with you to walk you through exactly what he sees and exactly what his recommendation is for you to fix it. Right here. It's free. Now, you know what's amazing? I was in Jacksonville speaking at an event, 100 agents in there not too long ago. We gave the same offer, 100 agents, right? We had 5 take us up on it. 5, that's it. 5 agents. And it's not because the other 95 stuff didn't suck. They wouldn't even take the time to do that. And then you wonder why you can't get better when even if somebody offers you something free to look and take the blinders off, and they don't. Now, it didn't bother me that much because that was just less work for us. But at the end of the day, you got to look at opportunities. So here's what we do. We go through. We start searching. We start looking, going, what's over here in your Google My Business page? What are all the different links that you currently have? You know the biggest one? Your MyBoard link. I click on that, and all of you have, not all of you, many of you will have headshots that are way outdated, a name that you don't go by, logos that aren't even relevant from your last company, like in your mobile. And you know what people say? Well, I don't use that. I understand that, but it's what's pulling up under your name. So whether you use it or not is irrelevant, because that's what I get to see as a client. So we dive in and we see after we Google your name. Then we go to Google my business page. Some of you are like, Google my business page. What is that? Okay, that's a whole nother topic, all right? And how we customize that, how we put your photos on it, how we make that relevant. And in your social media plan, you should be posting to your Google My Business every single day that helps your Google algorithms work better. Then we go through and we start clicking. What are your photos? When I click on you and I put Realtor by your name, do I see the first 3 rows are just you? Are there other competitors that now I get visual? Because you know people do that, right? When they Google you, they look at the photo section because that's how vain we are. I want to see you. I want to look at you. And I want to see what shows up. Then I go to the video page. There's nothing on videos. Oh, there was that one video that you did with your phone way across the room that doesn't look very good 3 years ago. But I'm trying to figure out if you're going to be the realtor that I'm going to buy my $200,000 house with and literally give you 6 G's. Okay. Then I go to your industry stuff, your Zillow page. I go to your MyBoard page. I look at all those things and I start to create this little audit. Look at your Facebook and go, what ads are being put out? Look at your LinkedIn. Look at your website. Look at your bios. You know, a little mistake people make is if I go to 4 different places, I see 4 different bios. I'm trying to figure out if you're confused or am I? Like, who are you really? So here's the thing with this. We're talking about creating brand consistency. Because let me just ask you a quick question, not rhetorical, actual question. When you see things, when you're searching somebody and you see things that are inconsistent, what do you think? Seriously, what do you think?
They're inconsistent.
What's that?
They're inconsistent.
They're inconsistent?
Their business is inconsistent.
Okay. They're not organized?
They don't care.
They don't care?
I was going to say almost a lack of trust.
Well, these are your words of how you perceive other people when you start seeing those inconsistencies. So when we start talking about how to build this personal brand, we say, are you consistent with your message? Are you consistent with the look and the feel and the idea? If I go and do I see a different photo from different eras of your life depending on where I'm going. Now, that could be cool in some cases, but so this is our 15-step process. That is our digital audit that we will do absolutely for free for you. And Mike will jump on the phone. Mike, raise your hand over. That's Mike over there. Mike is, we call him our digital ad whisperer guy, which he is, he's still, are you still in the millennial bucket technically? Because you sure act like one, okay? So, no, but he's really good in that space right there of looking at all those different things. And so make sure that you get your forms turned into Mike if you want that to happen. If you don't, there's no judgment. Like, I'm not going to go back and say, man, when I was at KW, they had 30 people and only 4 people. Well, I might say that, actually. Yeah, I might. I'm doing this tomorrow at MyBor. I know some people, actually, it worked out well for you guys because it sold out in like 5 minutes and for their 80 seats. And then I was working with Jess to brought this over here to you. But I won't say that no matter how many forms you fill out or not. I'm not going to say that. Yesterday I was at KW and don't go over there. No. Okay.
I was going to say, everyone fill out a form.
All right, so the last thing we're going to look at, and one of the things Mike's going to do is go, hey, when I look at your stuff, what was consistent, what was inconsistent? What wowed me? Like what is your brand message? Because here's the thing, I truly, truly believe that if I sat down with Jamie, I was trying to see her name tag, and I started talking to her, I started asking questions like, what do you do? Like, why do you do this thing? Why is this important? If you go back to your last couple of clients, like, what did they say that was amazing about you? And what makes you so excited to go do this? After 15, 20 years, how long have you been in business?
Since 93.
Okay. So after 20-some years in the business, why is this thing still so important to you? And you're going to give me this information, I'm going to be like, wow, that's legit. Like, I would want you to represent me. And you know what I do next? Then I go online, I say, could I convict you of whatever you just said? Is there anything to actually prove it? Now, some of you are like, yeah, but once I get in front of a customer, hold on a second, if you don't do this right, you won't get in front of the customer. And that's why we're having this real serious conversation about doing this audit and making sure at least you know, okay? Because if you looked at the 2020 numbers from MyBor, and I've used this statistic for a long time, but if you did 36 transactions, 200K, $216,000 of GCI, if you think about that number right there, for example, that puts you in the top, I think, 3% of agents in this city, right there. 36 transactions, 200K. But what happens right now if every time somebody goes there, you're losing 1 deal a month? People always ask me, what's the ROI of doing brand? I don't know. If it gets you 1 more deal a month, it's worth 72 G's. Or if it stops you from losing a deal every single month, it's worth 72 G's. And if it gains you one, now it's worth 140 grand. And the worst part about it is, I can't tell you how much you're losing because I don't know. Now, maybe nobody goes to your stuff, nobody looks at any of your stuff, and you could take it all down and it wouldn't change your business. I don't know that either. But I do know I don't want to take those chances because I'm working too hard to build the business to do what it is I say that I want to do. Okay? So, everything starts with, look at that, everything starts with your story. And every person in this room has a story. So mine, I'm from Lafayette, Indiana. I grew up with me and my mom. This is how we took family pictures when I was growing up. My parents divorced when I was 2 years old. And statistically speaking, I was supposed to fall in a lot of different buckets that I didn't know that I was supposed to fall into based upon that number. By the time I was in 6th grade, confidence was not an issue. Okay, I had that thing going right there. Now, the cool thing about this demographic in here, some of you got that same background. Okay, you're old enough, you got that same background, and that was 6th grade for me. It might have been 8th grade for you. Okay, I'm just saying. All right, and some of you are like, holy, what is that? Now, what you guys don't know is, man, I had that pink wife beater on, had my collar popped right there, had my little necklace on right there, and those glasses weren't just regular glasses, those were photo gray. That means when I walked outside, they turned into sunglasses, and that was it, okay? And there was nothing you could tell me anything else, right? But what I learned real quick was I did have confidence. My confidence for me, luckily, came from school, not from school, from sports. I was a 3-sport athlete, baseball, basketball, football, 12 varsity letters. I went on to play college football, and that was what was important to me. Unfortunately, that was about the only thing that was important to me. And when I was in college, one of the things I quickly learned was how hard it was to stay focused on your dream. How many things would interrupt that thought pattern and that drive, and how easily it was to get distracted. And so the short version of my story is I became a college dropout, and I tell people the only thing that takes more talent than being a college dropout is being a 2-time college dropout, because I did it twice. Okay, so I've always been an overachiever, and I'm rolling that into my professional life at this point in time. But that was my dream, to play big-time college football, and I had it, and I let that thing slip away. And I don't really live with a bunch of regrets in my life. I have do-overs, and people say that they would never change anything. I can't really relate to that, because I've got enough mistakes that there are some things that I would like to take over, and that's one of them. I wish I'd never quit. I wish I'd never given up on that particular dream, because it sent me down a rat hole race of a lot of different things. And I remember being in Lafayette, Indiana, waking up one day, making like $7.14 an hour working at the pawn shop. I had this thought, like, how did I get here? Like, I had big dreams, big goals, big aspirations. How did I get here? Like, this isn't supposed to be my life. This isn't supposed to be. Now, in the back of my head, I felt like, yeah, this is what people thought my life would be. And then I had to deal with all the head trash of the disappointment and the failure and the mistakes. And then I realized this. Everybody has that place in their life and or their business where you're looking at it going, how did this happen? How did I get here? And for some of you, it might be personal, because you're thinking about your marriage, you're thinking about you as a parent, you're thinking about your siblings. For some of you, it's in your business world, because you're going, man, I've been doing this for so many years, and you know what? Man, I did 4 million last year, and I really should have done 8. I did 8, and I should have done 16. But I did 20, but man, I had to work too many hours, sacrifice kids. Like, how did I get here? And what I learned, hindsight, not in that moment, was you got to make a big decision. And that is, when it comes to your dream, are you committed to it, or are you just kind of interested? And only you can answer that. And it's not for me to judge it, because if you want to be average, that's okay. If you want to be good, that's good. And if you want to be great, amazing. But here's what I don't like, is that people that talk about wanting to be great, but they only do the things that it takes to be average. Because then you have a conflict. Listen, you don't have to be a $15, $20 million real estate agent to be successful. Like, if you want to do $5 million and that's your thing and have balance in life, and that's cool. But if you want to build a mega team, one of my clients did 300 transactions last year, awesome. But be true to you in this. And so if you want to walk out here today going, listen, I don't want to do any of this stuff because it's just way more work, that's okay. Like, you don't have to do this. However, if you want to be good and you want to get great, then there are certain things you got to do to build it. And that's all I was learning at that point in time. Here's how I changed my world. It was education. I believe I'm one of the highest educated people in America, but I don't have a college degree. I spent hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars investing in my knowledge. And I still do. Because that was important for me to get educated. Now, I think for me, a part of that was, since I didn't have the formal education, I wasn't going to have a bachelor's degree behind it, I had to prove to other people first, which ultimately became proven to myself second, that I was just as smart as they were. In fact, I guarantee I've read probably more books, studied more information than the average college graduate or the top college graduates, because I wanted to educate myself on how to do it. And then I wanted to build relationships, because I knew I had to build relationships. And you know what? The thing that really put me over the edge about 10 years ago when I hired my first coach was coaching. It was having somebody else that could see the blind spots that I couldn't see that could help me. Now, that formula doesn't work for everybody, but it did work for me. And then to this day, I've still done the same things and investing in those different areas. So if I had to say there's one thing that I want every person to walk away from today more than anything else, is you got to invest in you. You have to invest in you. And what you need and you need and you need can be very different. But at the end of the day, you have to invest in yourself. And I'm not talking about just your business. I'm talking about your health. I'm talking about your family. You know, I've been pretty disturbed with the Kobe Bryant situation because Kobe had an interesting impact on me in my life. I graduated high school in '95, so he didn't drive me to want to be a great basketball player there. That was the Michael Jordan era. But in the business sense, what he taught me was, man, how to be just ferocious about being committed to success and whatever that meant to you. And I don't know if anybody heard this story, but the reason why Kobe actually used a helicopter was because in LA, the traffic is crazy. And so he learned that he could take his kids to school, jump on the helicopter, go down to the facility and work out all day long and work in his craft. And he could jump back in the helicopter, taking 15 minutes to get back home so that he could be in the carpool line. I heard that. I'm like, wow. That dude was not just committed to basketball, but he's committed to success, to himself, to his family. And it challenged me real quick to think about, like, what am I investing in for me to invest in other people? What's important to me with me and my own family? And I just want you guys to walk out of here today with nothing else going, what do I need to invest in me to do, to become, to achieve? In a minute, we're going to talk about some brand purpose stuff. I think this will start bringing full service. But this, for me, was the process of pursuit of happiness for me. I always wanted to be a motivational speaker. I spent 10 years traveling the country just doing that. 2,500 plus paid talks. And the only reason why I stopped the circuit was because I didn't want to spend that much time traveling every week. I want to spend some more time with my family. So I created an opportunity that I could do more of that here. Because the speaking stage for me has given me so many opportunities to do things, so much knowledge to learn, so many opportunities that I've been able to create, to package up information, to be standing in front of you guys sharing it today. And as the CEO and Chief Brand Officer of Mojo Up, we have two divisions. We have our agency side of it where we literally do all this stuff for people. And then we have our training side of it where we train and we coach and we help people that way. But I just wanted to live my days with my purpose, which was how do I help more people achieve things that are important to them? And that's what I want my kids to know about me. So this is what Dad did. This is who Dad was that. And whatever that is for you, I want you to be that committed to it as well. Now, I'm going to unpack the personal brand stuff, but I'm going to tell you it doesn't mean anything if it's not purposeful for you. I mean, if it's just to get another paycheck, sure, you could do it. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But I want to challenge you to think about what's the purpose in it for you. For me, it's mine. It's my little guy, Braden. Which is, I spelled his name wrong, B-R-A-D-E-N, spelled his name wrong. He can't read it anyway, you know. My 6-year-old Carter, I have an 18-year-old Jayla, and I have a smoking hot wife. And so, like, that's my crew, and it's part of what drives me to do what I want to do and what I want to achieve. And it brings me to, when we dig into your brand blueprint, and there's a couple ways we do this. We do this on a coaching basis. People pay us $3, $5, $10 to do their brand blueprint. The first page, the most important page that we spend the most time always is about brand clarity. And we always start with this right here. And I'm just putting a snapshot of what mine looks like over here, my first page, which is brand purpose, brand vision, brand message, brand personality. But it starts right here with brand purpose. And you got to establish, what is your brand purpose? Mine, to see more dreams come true. Like, nothing motivates me, inspires me more than to be able to help some person in here accomplish your dreams. I don't know why God wired me that way. I don't know why that's so important to me, but for as long as I can possibly remember, that is it. In different jobs, different environments, different stage platforms, different opportunities, but it's that right there. And so that's what drives me. Thinking about that. But here's my question to you. Do you know what yours is? Like, do you know what your brand purpose? When we say brand purpose, what is the one thing you want to see happen in the world better, more, differently? If you were the only real estate agent, there was not another one, you'd be able to fix this problem and deliver what? What's that?
Oh, sorry.
Oh.
I said best service.
Oh, okay. I was like, did I miss something? Did I miss that? All right. No. Somebody else catching another typo? Okay, because it probably happens. But brand purpose, right? And then we move on and realize that when it comes to this brand clarity thing, right, that you're in control of it. Now, brand message, ooh, I love that because it's what you want people to see. Let me get to this point real quick. Let me back up. When you understand your brand purpose, the next thing you have to understand is that you're in the driver's seat of it. At some point in time, we got to stop blaming them, how we grew up, the challenge that we're in, the relationships that we're in, the office that we're in, the economy that we're in, and we got to say, I'm going to take ownership for what I want to do. I'm in the driver's seat. And it's cool because once you get into the driver's seat, then you realize that you can take yourself where you want to go. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be easy. I'm not saying there's no obstacles. I'm just saying you're driving. For some of you, you got to get out of the passenger seat. You got to get out of the back seat, and you got to grab the wheel and say, you know what, 2020 is a year for me. I'm about to do some things different. And here's where I'm going to start talking about this. Now, buyer's journey is where we start all this real content stuff, so let me just dive into this. The number one thing you're up against, and for anybody that's heard Gary Vee talk, he always talks about attention. You're in the attention game. You've got to be able to grab people's attention with what you're doing, because it doesn't matter how wonderful your message is. If you can't stop me from scrolling, meaning scroll stopping content, then I don't listen to your message. And no matter how amazing you are, if you can't stop me from thinking about everything else, you never get the chance to pitch me. So the buyer's journey starts like this. In all of your marketing, this is the foundation of how you get it out there. Number one, you got to create some awareness. People have to know you actually exist. They got to know that. Because if they don't, it doesn't matter. Second thing is, then we got to drip them with some information that's around getting them to consider you as their potential agent. I got to know that here's what you are really about. This is your knowledge base. When we get into this zone right here, we're producing content that makes me respect your knowledge and ultimately trust you. And then the last phase is now we just got to give them enough ways to decide they want to work with us. So we start with know, like, respect and trust, try and buy, and we work people through this content. So every piece of content that we're putting out is aimed at moving people through this particular process. And that's how we keep attention or engagement with what you're doing. I used to talk about TOMA all the time, top of mind awareness. Now I say we have to have strategic top of mind awareness. Because I can't just push stuff out to you all the time, which I guess technically you can, but you'll see your engagement go down because it's not meaningful or purposeful. What I need to do is I need to stay top of mind in the right way. So we do this thing called the brand blueprint. Ultimately, it's about a 25-page stack of like this, which I was going to bring mine to show it, but where we walk people through all these concepts. Now, on February 4th, we're going to do our first all-day brand blueprint workshop, where I'm going to spend all day, 9 to 4, walking people through it, and people are going to walk out with this, right? Today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay out what needs to be in there, all the things you need to consider, and you get to work on it yourself because I don't have all day to do that, right? This is a 1-hour event. So this brand blueprint, where we've done this for so many different people, starts with creating this brand clarity that I talked about, right? Brand purpose, your brand message, and making sure that people are doing it. The second thing it is, and I'm going to go in depth on all these, is your brand marketing strategy. Like, there's a lot of strategies out there. Like, people are like, well, do I use Facebook or do I use Instagram? Do I do paid ads? Do I run a sales funnel? Do I use LinkedIn? Do I direct mail? Do I do farming? Do I do this? And the first time you get an email, somebody says, ooh, look at this cool thing right here. You're like, oh. And you bought it, and you've never even used it. What we really work against is saying, hey, stop the shiny objects, build a marketing strategy, prove it right or prove it wrong. Okay. Third thing, what collateral do I actually need to make this all happen, to look the part? So I have this strategy now. What are the things that I need? You know, KW does a good job of providing a lot of resources for you to start with. And sometimes you got to take that, but you got to upgrade that to do some things that are personal for you. And the last thing we go is, how do we execute this? Because one of the biggest challenges is really around execution. Who's actually going to do it? Okay. So let me just dive into each one of those, right? Brand clarity, I already talked about my brand purpose, but here's brand vision. You always start with going, hey, in 2020, what's the goal for your brand? So if we're having this conversation 1 year from today, you told me this happened with your brand. Mine, pretty simple. I want to be the most recognizable and respected personal brand personality in the greater Indianapolis market. In other words, when somebody talks about personal brand, they cannot talk about personal brand without me being included to that topic. All right? Now, is that the case? Absolutely not. About 30 days ago, we said, okay, this is what it's going to be for 2020. And so now we've built all of our stuff up. We're shooting all of the video, creating all the collateral, and we're launching a new campaign on February 1st. I'll share a little bit more about that to accomplish that, right? But that started with the brand vision. Then the brand message is, what do you want people to know, think, and feel about you? Right? Tell me your first name. Rhonda. If I'm in a conversation and I say, hey, tell me about Rhonda as a real estate agent. If we've done a great job with the message and people have seen it and heard it, whatever it was that I determined on this right here, that should be coming out of people's mouth. So for mine, I know that everyone has a dream, and in that dream, there's a piece of that they're like, I just don't know if that could really happen. What I want people to know is when I'm in that spot and I'm trying to figure out how to make it happen, I call Travis Brown because he has this unique mindset, this amazing team to help me build that and launch that. That's what we want our message to be. If you guys had to go tell 5 people that didn't show up to this thing today that should have, oh girl, you missed it. Travis Brown's in the house, and here's what he did. He talked about this, and he is this. It's that clarity piece and simplifying that. Okay? That's what we call brand message. And then I always come up with a signature quote that I feel like is the stamp. Like I want to put that everywhere. I want people to know that. And here's what I think, for me, I love helping people achieve things they never thought possible. I want people to directly associate with me. So I put that on my headers and banners and put all my stuff. Like that's my signature quote. I believe everybody has something like that you're like, bam. Now, here's what some people do. They run after today. They pull out this piece of paper and they're trying to create a signature quote without a brand purpose, knowing what their message really is. It's backwards. See, we create the cover before we create the book, which is actually how I do books, but that's another story. But it's a lot harder to do that, right? So this is brand clarity, and we're working brand clarity. The second phase of brand clarity is, who is your message really for? Do you know that? Okay? So if I'm your avatar, okay, and I'm buying a house, so I live on the north side in the Geist area, right? So here's my age range. I'm married. Yes, we're parents, college. Well, I would say between my wife and I, we have 2 degrees, okay? She's got both of them, but, I'm married up. It's cool. Business professional status, income range, location. Like, if I put all that stuff down, like that's the avatar in your head that you're trying to reach. Like we get detailed in that. We have all these categories that we break out for your avatar. Here's why. If you want to run an ad, you need that information. If I want to target a particular group, or if I just want to look into the camera one day and I want to do a video, you should be thinking, if I'm your avatar, Travis and Bree Brown, that's my wife, like you're talking to us. So we have avatars, right? We have our training and coaching side of our business. We know that business caters to agents that are brand new in the business up to probably about 15 million. Anybody in that space, because they can invest a couple $100 to come to one of our sessions or things like that and learn and do that. We have an agency side of our business that starts at $3,000, and by the time you're all said and done, it's about 15, 16 grand to go through and have us build your brand blueprint, build all of your collateral, rebuild your website, do all that stuff. Like that 90-day project is about 15 to 18 grand. So I know that's typically, you got to be a $10 to $15 million producer before you're mentally ready to invest that kind of money. Now, some will, but I already know that I'll, so here's your thing. If any of you are not a $10 to $15 million and you want our agency to do that, we'll still do that. But I'm not going to spend my marketing dollars towards you because you're not most receptive to that. That's what the audience or the avatar really is about. So most of you are just spraying all this stuff out there to all these people that aren't the best for your message because you think one person might miss. Newsflash, you just need 36 of your avatar to raise their hand and say, I want to work with you. 36. So you don't need everybody. See, that's one of the mistakes that we make or the false beliefs that we have is that we got to get our message to everybody. No, you only have so much marketing money. We want to take that box as small as it is, drive that right to that particular group, give them show-stopping content. Because when you say, hey, Travis and Bree Brown that lives in the Geist area, if you're looking to buy this, that, I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. They're talking to me. Not, hey, if you're a homeowner somewhere in the United States of America, I would love to be your agent. You ain't talking to me. That's why this is so stinking important. Okay? So number one, we go through brand clarity. You got to get clarity around your message and who it's for. All right? Step 2, you got to build your marketing strategy, okay? I'm a firm believer of these 4 things that you must, everybody say must. You must do. Number 1 is video. You got to get your video game right. And some of you are like, I don't like video. I don't want to do video. I don't look camera on video. Well, you don't look we don't do it off camera either, but you still walk around. That's no excuse. You know I'm just joking. Well, maybe. No, but seriously, you can't use that as an excuse anymore. This is 2020. You got to learn how to do video. And let me help you with this. I had a coaching client, and she said, but no, who wants to listen to me talk all the time? And I said, well, let me ask you a question. How long have you been doing this? And she told me, I can't remember, 7, 8 years. I said, all right. Have you learned anything in that 7, 8 years? Yeah. I said, anything that would be helpful for other people that's trying to buy a house? Because she's a loan officer. Yeah. I said, well, let me just rearrange your mindset. Then for you to not share is selfish. Because you have something that you have learned, that you have, and you're unwilling to share it to anybody else? How selfish are you? Now, I know most of you don't look at it that way. And most of us have grown up where people say, hey, listen, don't brag about yourself. Don't toot your own horn. You don't be all... And we've got that negative programming that we shouldn't say those things about ourselves. But here's the thing. You're teaching somebody something. What's your name, ma'am? Deidre. Like, you have something in your head, I promise you, that there's a buyer out there that if they don't get you are going to make that mistake, and then watch what's going to happen. It's going to cost them money, it's going to cost them time, or it's going to cost them a bad experience. And if you had shared it with them, they wouldn't have had to go through that. And that's your fault. See?
That's very powerful.
What'd you say?
That's wonderful.
I mean, here's what I'm telling you. In all seriousness, that's why you got to get over yourself on video. Now, I do a whole one-day workshop on video training, and my one secret on video is this. I watch it, I record it. No. I record it, I don't watch it, and then I post it. Now, that works for me, right? Because I'll do that. Now, Mike frustrates the piss out of me because I'll do a take, and he'll say, because he's our creative director, he always says, well, that sounds pretty good. I think we can make it a little bit better. And I'm like one take, it's good is good enough when it comes to that because I don't want to psych myself out and redoing it and all that time. Here's the thing. Just do it. Get it done. And then you can tweak it and make it better. Here's the other thing. Yep, see all these cool cameras and all these little devices, all this. You don't need all that. You got an iPhone 6, you're good enough. So for all you that upgraded, because you said you sold your spouse, like, I'm going to get this iPhone 11 because it's got the camera on it that I need, and it's got all this, and you ain't even used it. Okay? So you got to put down different type of videos. Written content, graphics, photos, like using all of this stuff to teach, to educate, to add value. I got to put this in my slide, but because I kind of rephrased this the other day. But when you post something, you got to think, does it add value? Number one, right? Does it wow me? Does it inspire me? Does it teach me? Or does it entertain me? Doesn't have to do all of them together, but it has to do one of the 4. So the stuff you're putting out that doesn't do any of that, that's not good content. Let me say those again. Does it entertain me, which is the most engaging piece of content out there? Listen, I'm not a very entertaining person. I'm not Carrot Top. I'm not pulling stuff out and doing crazy. I'm not going to do that. So I haven't found the best way to entertain. Does it teach me? Okay? Sharing your knowledge, your information. Anybody else remember the other one I said?
Inspire.
Does it inspire me? Thank you. I'm glad you're listening. Does it inspire me? This is when you see a lot of thoughts, quotes, ideas. If you look at all the stuff that people put out about Kobe right now in these last couple of days, think about like how much of the stuff you've never heard him say. Now, I mean, I have most of it, but see all the stuff he's not entertaining, but he's teaching and he's inspiring. And you do that well enough, then people go, Wow. That was impressive. So think about your content like that, right? These are just the ways that you're able to do it. Now, when you dive in deeper, we always tackle these things. You want SEO, search engine optimization. That means organically free, you're not paying. Versus search engine marketing is what you're using to actually pay to drive traffic. Website and blog strategies, email campaigns, social media specifics, your ad and your sales funnels. Like these are all part of your marketing strategy. And here's the thing. They all have a place. And based upon what your goal is and what you're trying to accomplish, it determines which one of them. And this is what we're going to break down in an 8-hour course and go through every single one of those. But even if I deal with social media, let me just give you the overview, right? LinkedIn. You should all be using LinkedIn. Why? Because some people like LinkedIn better. Now, here's the key. If you know your avatar, because we have basically two to three avatars that we work with in our company, that real estate agent avatar that I just shared with you. I'm talking about our agency business, okay? We have a loan officer one that mirrors that. And then we have a CEO and entrepreneur group. And so I already know my CEO and entrepreneur group. Where do I find them? LinkedIn. My realtor group. Now, let's just ask this question. How many of you, your preferred social media is Facebook? That you use that more than anything else? Okay, cool. How many of you are Instagram? Okay, cool. How many of you LinkedIn? Okay. Now watch this. So I know when I'm running advertising type stuff or pushing content to real estate agents, LinkedIn is not the bet. Because I know that because I'm teaching all of you guys to use it. And we're doing enough audits to know that you don't use it, right? Now we have a new avatar for our seminars and our workshops that are more like young entrepreneurs that are just trying to figure it out. They may have that part-time job. They're trying to get out of that box. Or they're a young marketing person. We know they're on the gram more than anything else. So that's why it's important to understand which one of these are best for your avatar. But if you're trying to be in the luxury market and work at $400,000 to $800,000 in Indianapolis, you better be on LinkedIn because they're not on the gram. They're not messing around on Facebook. That group is there. So my whole point is understanding your audience. But yes, you could talk about the stories versus direct posting, and there's a lot of different things in there. But at the end of the day, content strategy, same thing we already talked about, right? Awareness, consideration, decision, building out a content calendar, building a social media platform. Like we use Simplified Social. Our chief marketing officer, she developed an amazing platform. That's why I actually hired her and brought her over because it's the most user-friendly thing. It's way better than Sprout and the other things that are out there. But you got to have that, and then you work through engagement. But this right here is the simple part. It's actually building the right content and the strategies and the messaging before that, right? But here's just kind of something you guys got to put in the back of your head. I always say pay or don't pay. So this is a post that we did where I got, just organic, right? And I have, this is Facebook. I've got 25,000 people on my Facebook, okay? I reached 119 people. That's my organic reach with 25,000 people, right? Here's another one. This one a little bit better. But this is the one we put ad money behind and we put it in front of 20,000 people. See, the difference is if you don't pay to play, just understand there's not much that's going to happen with your organic reach. Now, there's a purpose for organic reach. And that is when I go to look you up, remember, I got a referral from you, then I went to your page just to validate you. When I went to your page, it looked good, warm and fuzzy. Cool, served its purpose. But that's not going to drive new business. That's to make sure you don't lose business, right? Same thing on the gram. Normal image for us, 108. We put ad behind it, a little bit of ad spend behind it, 3,000. That's why it's important to understand your purpose, what you're trying to accomplish, and what you have to do to make that happen, all right? Traditional marketing, there's all different things you should be considering, magazine, industry events, all that kind of stuff. Here's the lens that we run it by. We were actually with a client yesterday, and they wanted to do a farm for a neighborhood, actually KW person. And the question was, how do we really farm this neighborhood in a traditional sense? And Mike and I wrote everything out on our strategy session. It's kind of like, yeah, but for the amount of money it's going to cost you to farm, here's what we could do digitally, and I could put that in front of them 4 more times than I can just farming. Now, understand, I'm not anti-farming because I think that is important. The real answer is not or, It's and, right? But everybody has so much money. But we're talking about thinking through that strategy of what we want to do traditionally, right? And everything has its place. Because if you start with a dollar bill saying, here's how much money I have, it only goes so far. You have to prioritize. Now, if you want an OG strategy, this is a real simple one called a Starbucks card. Take all your center of influences, take out a little handwritten card, and send them a handwritten note that just says, hey, I was thinking about you the other day, would love to meet to grab this cup of coffee on me, let me know when you're available, and actually go buy the Starbucks card, $5, put it in there, and send it to them. You know why? Because when we get that from people and the actual card that's in there, we're like, dang, I'm going to need to go have a cup of Starbucks. Why? Because that's how we feel about when somebody's given us something, invested something in us. We feel an obligation to then go meet. But that's an easy traditional way to get in front of people. Now, Lauren, if you get one for me, now you know my strategy, right? And now you automatically feel obligated to have to do it, all right? And then I said there are some mojo factors, things that elevate your brand faster than others. Number one, speaking, right? If I was at the Indiana Keller Williams, I don't know if you guys have this, statewide Keller Williams event, and you're walking through the exhibitor hall, and you saw my booth that said Travis Brown, marketing, all that kind of stuff, and you walk by, you immediately look at me as a what? Vendor. He's paying here, he's paying here, he's trying to get something out of me, trying to get my business, he's trying to make me spend my money. But the moment I step on stage, changes your perspective. Like, oh, he's an authority. He knows something. He's knowledgeable. I learned from them. So the question always is how can I use my current knowledge to speak? Not, you don't have to go across the country speaking, but listen, if you're a speaker and you want to do first-time home buyers, can you find somebody that already has 50 of them, 30 of them in a room that you can just show up and share your knowledge? Speaking platform, right? Because you teach that person something at some company, I promise you, you're different than everybody else. Write a book. Yeah, it's really not as difficult as you think, but put a book behind your thoughts, your knowledge, what you know. Do a vodcast, video podcast, right? Where you sit down and have somebody video that, you chop all the stuff up with your guests. I promise you can get to more people than you've ever thought in this city to sit on your vodcast. You're virtually one person away from any one person you want to sit down with and help tell their story. Okay? So those we call some mojo factors that kind of help you in doing that. All right. So the third thing is now you got to figure out, well, what assets do I need? What collateral am I going to need now to make myself look the part? So we go down through it, right? Creative stuff, your logos and signatures and your color palettes and all that stuff. Traditional business cards, presentation folders, pitch decks, that kind of stuff. And then all of your social headers, your photos, your graphics, and you got to build out what that looks like. Now, what we do for our clients in Simplified Social is we build the templates. We upload all of your templates and all of your assets so that you can run it out of there, and it's a lot easier than to quickly do things like that. You have to look at it. We haven't done this yet, but at some point in time, we'll start doing some demos of our system. It is super easy and absolutely awesome, and I'm glad Jennifer created that thing. But you do have to look the part, right? You got to make sure it looks good, it's clean, it's professional. People see it, they're like, wow. But don't go do this without meaning and message behind it. So if you can't tell me your brand purpose, your brand message, and what your vision is, don't go hire a designer to go do some stuff. Don't go home today and spend 5 hours trying to come up with a new business card with a new cool phrase on it. Don't. Right? Get the baseline stuff first and then build out all of your collateral. Then you can start creating a look and the feel of everything that we're doing. Here's one of our KW agents. Some of you will know Drew Keller, done Drew stuff for years. But we had to create the concept and everything behind it before we started to bring it all to life, right? So yes, you do have to create your assets, your collateral to help do that. Because what we do with this as an agency is then we take all that stuff and we go do what we call digital rebuild. We go rebuild all of your social media, all your platforms, all your stuff with the new collateral that we actually have, okay? I do think there are two types of videos that you should highly consider. One, we call it a brand video. It's your signature video that tells your story. And we have a couple financial advisor clients and people that we work with too saying the same thing, like your business is so highly regulated with what you can and cannot do, but here's the thing that nobody will ever stop you from doing, which is telling your story. Telling your story. And I will go out here and just tell you this. If there's one place that I would tell you to invest money is telling your story, and the most powerful way to tell your story is through good video. Now notice I did throw a little caveat in there. I said good video, okay? And that's an important piece. And I've learned so much from these video guys talking about how to tell the story, how to frame it up, and how to make it have life. And if you're a super creative person, then you're probably good on your own. Maybe you can do that, and you can. But if not, that's a place where don't cut the corners in that. Invest the money to be able to do something like that. So we do brand videos, and then teaching videos. We package those up, create templates for people so that you can have a template on how to actually do that and create content-based videos. Now, it's easy for me to produce a lot of content because I do this a lot. And so we can go back over today and we'll chop up and create little sound bites 30 sound bites from the different things that I've taught today. Okay? So somebody once said to me, going, well, yeah, but I don't do that. And I said, yeah, but that's your choice. Because you guys could host the same meeting and get 5 of you in this room and sit in the front right here, have a video person video, each one of you get up and you talk about your brand message, your brand purpose, or teach some stuff, and you could do the same thing. So finding ways to produce content is super valuable. Okay. All right. Last thing here is this. This is brand execution. I'm gonna wrap this up and do some Q&A stuff, and that is we build a brand kit. Okay. A brand kit simply has your assets, your print, your digital, and all of your video in it. When we go do rebuild for clients, everything comes from that brand kit. So everything we do from that moving forward is always jumping into the brand kit, pulling out all those assets and collateral, and that's what we use to do everything, right? So you want to build out your brand kit. Then you need to go rebuild it all. When I say rebuild it all, that means rebuild your Google, all your social media platforms, your YouTube stuff, build out your social media platform that you're going to use to manage it. Go back into Zillow and Realtor.com and Homes.com and change your photo right, change your tagline, update your bio. So all that stuff looks absolutely amazing. And I will tell you, I think using KW's template website is a good starting point, and it's better than nothing. But as soon as you're at a point where you can invest enough money to get your own look and your own header style, it does give you a different sense of not just individualism, but you're able to tell the message and the story, and it does look better. And there's different ways that you can do that out there, some more inexpensive. Let me just tell you while you're on the website, when you think about the number one cost factor to build your own website as an agent is the IDX. And the IDX that MyBor offers creates a very, very limited visibility of what you actually can produce. You need to use like an IDX broker or something like that that allows you to play with it and make it look a lot more professional. Okay. So then you got to go rebuild it. And then you got to decide, well, what's going to happen on an ongoing basis? So what we do is we have 3 different phases. One is a brand management phase where it's more consulting and we tell you what you should do, what you should think about, and all those things. Then for another group of people we add on, then we run all of your organic stuff, and we do all the content creation and all that stuff, and then we actually put that out. And then the third phase is then we also create and run all of your ads. Here's what you got to understand from this. You don't have to hire somebody to do it if you're willing to get the knowledge to learn how to do it yourself, right? And you don't have to do it at that level, but you got to do something consistently so that your brand can actually have life, right? And that's the execution part of it. When I first came here, I think the first time I was on staff at Bank of England Mortgage, I launched a division there, and our goal was to be able to provide these services and have these conversations. I hit a frustration point where I realized that in a 1-hour session, I couldn't solve your problems. I couldn't do it. I didn't have the team to be able to do it. And so when I left there back in August, I left to start my own marketing agency so that we could actually fulfill it and help see people actually see the end results of what we were talking about. And it's hard. I mean, right now you're in one of 3 places. After this training right here, sitting here right now, you're like, man, this is legit. This is fire. I'm walking out here today. I'm creating it all myself. I'm about to do it. And if you have that skill set, that's amazing. And that's a great place to be to walk out of here. Second group, you're like, well, I'm going to need a little bit more help. right? I'm going to need somebody to kind of handhold a little bit, teach me, be able to ask some questions to figure it out, walk alongside of me, but I'm going to need a little bit more help. The third group is you just want somebody to do it for you. Like, I don't care. I don't want to mess with it. Like, when it comes to anything going wrong in our house, I have one simple statement. I say, pay the man. Just pay him. Because if I'm going to spend 3 hours trying to figure out how to take this part away, this dishwasher, cuss, my wife and I are going to get in a fight. We are going to argue about how it's being done, if it's right or not. I'm going to tear something up, and then I'm going to have to call somebody after it's all said and done. And it's going to cost me more money anyway. So I always tell my wife this. I would rather go to work one extra day to earn whatever it's going to cost to pay the man to come and do it. Because, number one, I love what I do, so I would rather do that than to sit there for 2 hours trying to figure out how to freaking fix the sink. It ain't going to work. I don't care how many YouTube videos I watch. Step by step, I read the instructions. They always leave out 2 or 3 of them. Or you got to have certain knowledge around what you're doing that I don't have. So I know my limitations, right? And you got to do the same thing for you for your business because you have a business. And those are decisions that you have to make. So I do want to share with you guys that on February 4th, I mentioned this earlier, we're going to do a one-day event. First time we've ever done this, okay? We got 25 seats available, a one-day event where I'm going to take exactly what I just shared with you, but I'm going to take it one step further, and I'm going to dive in. And at the end of that session, you're going to have 25 pages in your hand. You're not going to have every single thing comfortable, confident, filled out, but you're going to have every single page that's in my brand blueprint, my own personal, and the ones that we've done for other agents and teams. And you're going to have all your notes and everything in there so that you can walk out and have your brand blueprint done. Okay? So it's a one-day event. We have 25 different seats, but we're going to go through each one of those particular phases and help you. Now, here's what's really cool about this particular event is that this is just a snapshot of half of my brand blueprint. All these pages and all this stuff right here, you're going to have the information specific to your brand filled out. Now, mine has some cool images and stuff in there because it's 4 or 5 steps down the road from that, but it will ultimately begin to look just like this. And the reason why we're doing this is because between the master class, which is not what we call this, our master class, people start saying, I just need more. And we have a agency program that starts at costing you $3,000 and basically costs you at least $3,000 to get that brand blueprint, and it's just not affordable for everybody with where they are. So we thought, why don't we put it at a price point that we know that every person could invest in, $300. And if somebody doesn't have $300 to invest in building their business, there's really nothing I can do for you or help you because you have to start someplace. But we wanted to map that out for that. And so we'll go through all the execution and help you just decide that, and my whole team's going to be there. So this is our team, and we have specialists to do this. So we have people that really work on different aspects of the business. So I'll be teaching, and then we'll say, all right, we're going to take the next 5 minutes for you to work on this particular piece, and then we'll have Mike walking around, and you'll have Shelly walking around, and you'll have Jennifer walking around answering questions that you're having. So it's like workshop meets mastermind, but the whole idea is you got to walk away with something in your hand going, man, I feel good about being able to take the next step in my brand. And I wanted to make sure that we gave people opportunity because what continues to happen is people are like, I want to do it, but I can't give you $15,000 to do it. And we understand that. So we built this one-day session to be able to do that, okay? So I'm going to have Mike pass out those forms. They're order forms. We have 25 spots. I'm doing this tomorrow at the MyBoard event. And so we're going to offer the same thing there. If any of you have interest, fill your forms out today. You can turn it back into Mike, and we'll save you a spot for that. Again, it's $300, all-day event on February 4th. I'm guessing we'll do another one, but as of today, we don't have another one on the schedule, but this one is specific to this. I think we're going to roll out ones for video, LinkedIn, and a few other things that people have opened up and said, hey, we want this. So I just wanted to kind of give you that. I'm going to hang around for the next 10 minutes, and we're going to do just a Q&A that allows you guys now to ask any questions about any of this information that I've shared in this last hour and 15 minutes right along. Yes? $300. Yeah. So it's in Fishers at the Launch Fishers building. It's right behind the Target off 116th Street.
Oh, that's a place, Launch Fishers?
Yeah, Launch Fishers is a building. It's a co-working space that they have a big conference room.
I don't know, West Side.
I know it's way on the north side. You got to go all the way up there. But here's what I will tell you. If you don't know anything about me because you haven't had much interaction, this event, I promise you, we will over-deliver what you think. Because we're going to go above and beyond. I have a couple little cool things that we're going to do with it as well, just to make sure that everybody walks out and goes, man, this was the most powerful day that I've had, and absolutely, I loved it. And you'll be a part of our first event if you decide to come. So, yes, that's the answer to that. Yes, you have a question too?
That was my question.
Oh, that was your question? All right, who's got some questions about information or content? Yes?
It's not about this, but do you have a coach right now?
Do I have a coach? Yeah, so I've coached with a guy, his name's James Malinchik. He was my speaker coach. He taught me how to build speaker platform. And one of the things he taught me early on, and that's actually how I got to this point in my life, was James always had a concept going, I'm not going to talk about your message, your passion, because you're passionate about speaking. I'm going to talk about how you get people to pay you to get on stage. And so I spent 10 years, 14, actually today, let me clarify that. Today, right now, I'm not coaching with him, not in the last year because I transitioned. So we're looking at 2 or 3 different people to start a new coaching with, but James has been my coach for years because he taught me how to position myself to get people to book me for speaking, job. That's why I wrote that book. And everything we're doing here still has that same undertone going. If I line 36 people up at the door right now, you could probably show them houses and write contracts. And the only reason why you won't do 36 next year, not saying that anybody didn't do that, I'm just saying the reason why you wouldn't is because you couldn't get the 36 to line up. So that's why we spend so much time talking about the 36, getting the 36 to line up, because I'm not a realtor. Like, I don't know how to show a house. I mean, I could figure it out, but not as well as you do. Like, I've looked at contracts because I spent 10 years in the mortgage business, so I know purchase agreement, but I don't know all the nuances around it and all the little blind spots. A home inspection, yeah, I've seen them. Mostly when there's an issue and there's a problem with it and somebody's calling, saying, my underwriter's calling me saying, there's a cost of cure. Did you see that on the appraisal or the home inspection? I'm like, I didn't, but now I know. So my point to that is I don't know how to be a great realtor, like showing the house. So that's not my knowledge and expertise. My knowledge and expertise is how do I get you 36 people lined up to let you be a great realtor? So good question.
Is there going to be, are we going to have to bring stuff to this workshop?
Are you going to bring stuff? No.
Okay, I feel like I need to show up with like, here's my picture, here's my this, here's my that. Now how are we going to?
Yeah. So the way the workshop will be is you're going to walk in. You're going to get a guide. It's going to be like 25 pages, stacked right there, right? And we're going to go through all of those pieces. Now some of it will be filled in already because it's now you connecting the dots, right? So when you walk out, so like mine, for example. So mine has like, okay, this is video strategy. These are the 8 type of videos. I have 4 images of me actually doing video. You don't have to put that in it that day, right? Now, for everybody that signs up, we are going to send you the copy in advance also, and you could preload some of those things in there if you wanted to, which if that makes you feel like more warm and fuzzy about that thing. But even if you pay us because our CEO clients are 5 and our realtor clients are $3,000 to do it. When we do day 1, it's black and white. There's no photos, and that's how we start the process on phase 1. Phase 2 is then we start adding in all the different pieces to it to actually make it look absolutely amazing. So I'll give you a little hint. There's going to be a free follow-up session to take all the people that did come to this event and do a follow-up to help make it all look a little bit better after the first event. So that's just a little extra nugget. So, yes?
Do you still do your individual, like your LinkedIn classes or your Instagram classes? Are you still doing that type of thing that you used to do before?
No, yes and no. So we will do them, but they're going to be in the form of a full-day workshop.
Okay.
And those aren't free anymore. The one that we'll do free is this class right here. I'll do this at a couple different places, but because now that's our full-time, obviously, job position and how I pay for all these people. But I know our second workshop that we're going to do is our video workshop, where we do the same thing. We have our team in. We'll be shooting videos, coaching people on videos. This isn't 100% done in the books, but there's a rumor that Fisher's Homes Builders on the south side is paying me to come in and do that video training. So if you are connected to them in any way, shape, or form, that event will be free because they're paying for me to be there for a certain group of agents. They haven't released any dates or times or anything like that, but rumor has it that might be a way you could pick it up for free. So just throwing that out there.
So you're transitioning to this workshop type thing.
Yep.
On each of the
Yep.
individual things.
Yeah, and so the goal on that was, because I used to do those like this in an hour. Here's the problem. I can't solve all the problems in an hour, right? Now the difference is if you had everybody had laptops up in there, and here's how we're gonna do it. We're gonna teach on those classes, LinkedIn, Instagram. We're gonna teach the first half of the day, like this, showing you everything, right? Then give that to you, pull your stuff up. Now the second half of the day is all about fixing yours and having our team work the room to help you make sure you fix it. So that's going to be that's our new workshop style, specifically for LinkedIn, specifically for Instagram, Facebook. Mike's going to do one that's solely on ads, like how to actually build the Facebook ad and business manager and what to look for and all the nuances. And you'll walk out of that one with just like your Facebook manager built, an ad sitting right in there, credit card in, and running, right? So that's the style that we're actually moving to, where we feel like, we can put a room of 25 or 50 people in one room with our whole entire team and ultimately add more value.
And how do we get on those lists so that we're getting those notifications immediately?
Well, a couple things. One is if you fill out your audit form, then when we do your audit, we'll tag you in the system that way, and so then you'll go on our email list and we'll start sharing that information with you. So we don't have any dates. I'll be just transparent. So we don't have any dates for that yet. What we're really trying to figure out is how many people really are interested in doing it. We think it's great. We think it's valuable. We think it's at a price point that, that is worth it for you to go and get that out of it. But we're also making sure that the market does before we do that. I love it. This is all I want to do, is do those type of sessions. So we're just making sure that the market, which are folks in the real estate, in mortgage, financial services is one of our other big markets, and now we're dipping into entrepreneurs. Mm-hmm. Yes.
I was just going to add, imagine, so with everything that we're able to do now on command, we have that partnership with Facebook, so they push us, however the algorithm works, I don't know, not that tech savvy, but imagine if you guys had this built out and could run it through command with the ads, how much more people you actually would, because it was 3,000 or 3,500 or whatever. Imagine you could, I don't know, you might be able to like double that. I guess I'd be interested to see the two together. Yeah. And see how much more I could even boost it.
Well, what's interesting, if you guys have some interest in this, the conversation we had with both Remax and their new rollout of Boosh and Berkshire's as well was, does somebody have enough interest to work with us and allow us to come in, understand command, learn it on the backside of it, and then actually when we go in to teach this in our social media platform, we're teaching it through the lens of here's how you actually use it in command in this particular case. We're still waiting for somebody to really raise their hand and say we're willing to, we value what you do enough to say that makes sense. And when it does, we're open to that, because our goal isn't to pull you away from a command system. We just don't know it. So what we figured out was what's the best way, the most cost-effective way to use user-friendly type of stuff that we do. And so what we're teaching is here's how we do it. But it's actually amazing to be able to teach it how you guys do it in your own platforms.
Yeah, for sure. It was probably really similar to just going to how you do it.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? I mean, I'll answer them, but if you guys are out of questions, then I don't want to take any more of your time, because that baked potato is calling somebody's name. Before I shut it down, any other questions?
Thank you.
Awesome. So if you have forms or you have questions about the other event, please see Mike over there. Just fill off your registration form. Or if you have your audit form, go ahead and give that to him also. And thanks a lot. We appreciate being here. And thanks, Jess, for showing up and, listening and, all that. No, I'm just kidding. All right, thanks. Have a great day.